Our purpose at Data House is really to enrich the lives in Hawaii by sparking innovation. What's always been important is why my father started Data House. You know, Data House is a very family and very purpose-driven culture. That's where Hong has that same heart.
What drew me to Data House is the potential to make it grow. So I thought with the experience that I brought and the mainland experience, it just felt right.
She came in initially as 𝐀𝐬𝐢𝐚, our president's right-hand person. But quickly, because of her ability to drive business deals, we promoted her to co-president, and just recently she became the CEO of the organization. Her ability to form global partnerships provides this unique opportunity for us to make a global impact in the IT industry.
I didn't think that I choose IT as my career path. It chose me. Internally, I think I had this talent of trying to fix a problem. If there's a problem, there's probably a way to fix it. I love what I do. I love the impact that it has. As a woman and being minority, completely different culture coming in and being able to accomplish as much. It is a huge accomplishment coming from where I have come from. My family in Vietnam, my mom and dad are fishermen in Da Nang. We're on the lower side of, in terms of economic. After the war, there's limited opportunity. So my mom thought to leave, to find a better life for the kids.
Hồi chiều má mẹ á, má của các con á, bà tổ chức. Bà nói thôi chị ở lại đây thì cũng khổ để đi bắt biên. Bà nói lại đây rồi bị đi trục biên ra ngoài nó có cái tàu Mỹ ở ngoài nó ra nó dắt cho mình đi. Ra đó dắt, bà bị sốc. Bà nghe lời bạn á, bà nói thôi. Bà bị một rồi ba lấy dầu đồ đi trở lên để tinh rớ ủng hộ gạo cơm đồ để nó sắp sửa đây.
There was 5 of us at the time. My mom and the younger brother was always the biggest challenge because he's 3 months and you have to figure out how to put him to sleep so that he's not crying and waking up people. So she also had to figure out, okay, how do she plan it so that people weren't following us to report us? Because at the time you cannot just leave the country, right? You're being monitored, you're being watched, so you have to be cautious of the steps that you've taken. On that day, we got out, me, my dad, and my brother, who was hidden underneath the boat, the younger brother. We went out to sea first. What I do remember is that it's dark. While we were waiting, there was also another boat of 5 single male that was out there. And they came up, because, in Da Nang, it's a small town. It's a small fisherman group. So they saw my dad with us. And they became curious, right? So they came up and said, what are you guys doing out here? So they knew right off the bat that we were going to leave. So one way or another, they said, you got to take us with you or we're all going, back in. So there was actually that boat of 5 single male that actually came with us on that trip. My mom came out. It was a little bit later in the evening when she finally got there, and then we started the trip.
Rồi bắt đầu hai ra đi một đêm, đi một đêm, một ngày tới đảo Hà Nam của Trung Quốc.
This is the boat that we went on. It's 14 feet long and it's 4-5 feet wide.
Rồi coi như vớt sang hết sang rồi bắt đầu mình đi. Không ha, cái ga bị bể sổ đít như này, nước cũng chảy vô. Bể sổ đít này bị nước cũng chảy vô.
Our cousin, he was 18 at the time. With the crack, Grandpa had our cousin come, and his job is to get the water out. And Grandpa said anytime he falls asleep, he kicks him because he can't go to sleep because that was his job to get the water out or else we sink.
Rồi bị bể nước con ba nói trong bụng á, ba nói suy nghĩ trong bụng á là đây là 90% chết rồi, còn 1% bị gái bị bể nước vô rồi. Rồi bắt đầu đi lên đây thêm một ngày nữa, một đêm tới bữa nó bị hòn đá ở bên nữa ụ vô ngay giữa luôn mà khó không bị xe qua là cái gai tốt rồi, giờ đi lọc về giữa.
He stationed his boat at night. The morning get up, there are rock coming up. Because that rock everywhere, if my dad start the engine, the spinner down the bottom, you know where the rock, maybe you hit the rock, you are done. So no way that he can leave there and go out in the ocean. Guess what happened? He prayed, dolphin come. The dolphin, 4 dolphins from ocean, they coming in. The dolphin take us out in the ocean. After that, and dad go like this, and the dolphin stand up, go like this, and they go. They will go straight out. 4 dolphins, I remember that.
After we survived the rock, right, then we went to the Hainan Island. And what they saw was this, you know, at the time it's like a Soviet ship, but they were heading towards Hanoi. And so they were willing to take us, the family with the kids, not the other. At the time there's 2 boats. But the boats with the 5 gentlemen, they were very clear to tell Grandma and Grandpa, we are not going to Hanoi. We are neither going to Hong Kong as our destination, or we go down there.
Rồi ba má thì nghĩ thôi thì đi theo hắn có chết có sống nhau, chết lễ có chìm mình chết sống có nhau, rồi đi theo luôn vô bờ, chạy vô bờ. Bắt đầu chạy vô bờ là 12 giờ, chạy vô 3 giờ chiều, chạy vô bờ 3 giờ chiều, vô ở chỗ bờ đảo Trung Quốc á, 3 giờ chiều. Rồi bắt đầu vô 3 giờ chiều mấy người ở Trung Quốc á xuống họ ba má có giấy tờ gì không, mình cũng chưa. Rồi họ đi đâu mình nói là mình chỉ Hong Kong á. Rồi bắt đầu họ ba má có đồng hồ không, rồi họ ba má có vàng không, rồi má mình đưa cho 2 chị vàng. Rồi bắt đầu đưa liên khô, đưa dầu linh, rồi đưa nước uống. Rồi sáng ngày mới 8 giờ sáng bộ đội ở đây đi xuống, bộ đội Trung Quốc á, xuống đuổi mình đi, đuổi đi. Bắt đầu đi ra gặp cái tàu của Liên Xô á. Mà má bị biểu ba chạy tới để xin hắn lên về Hà Nội, cái tàu nó về Hà Nội. Rồi mình biểu cho ba chạy tới để xin hắn lên đến tàu, hắn không cho, hắn không ngừng.
But I also remember distinctly, you know, there was one day where it was raining, and I think there was a boat that came up. You know, anytime Dad sees that there's an opportunity for someone to rescue up, he would raise up the white flag, right, that says, hey, we need some help. And I kind of remember in that vision, it's raining, and the boat would just, you know, they turn around, they start firing at us.
Tụi Thái Lan á, nó rút súng mà bắn bắn chạy luôn, tại vì mình tới là xin nó lên thôi. Nhưng mà khi nó bắn á, nó thấy con nít nó không dí theo.
What really stand out for me was our last day on the open, because the storm. Because he's a fisherman. Grandpa knew the storm was coming just by the feeling of the wave.
Rồi bắt đầu họ nói 1 giờ trưa, bắt đầu chạy tao coi như sang đầu, bắt đầu bên nó không sang đầu, nó biểu má con nó lấy dây tó còn phải là để mà có chuyện đó, chết sống với nhau.
Cái dây màu trắng á, cột từng người bự như này nè, cột lại đó. Ta là ngồi phía trước rồi xung quanh vậy đó thôi, tối này coi như là chết mà coi như là chết vậy thôi. Em đi đâu khoảng chừng đâu nhớ khoảng chừng là 3 đến 4 tiếng gì đó thì bắt đầu thấy tàu của tụi Nga này nọ, mình không biết tàu ai mà ai đi ngang qua giơ tay cưới hết, tàu bự lắm nha, cái tàu giống container vậy đó, nó đi qua lại á, nó đâu có chịu. Tàu nhỏ tàu độ cuối cùng á
sáng bự quá, lên xuống lên đi xuống.
The movie, The Perfect Storm, it's like that. And imagine this tiny little boat with nothing on it. We're going through these waves up and down.
My dad and my mom said, that's it. We're not gonna make it. We're gonna die.
Rồi bắt đầu Nam về chiều gặp tàu Hồng Kông ở trong nó đi võ tàu võ của Hồng Kông đi ra. Ông thấy hai ghe nhỏ quá, từ bão sáng gió rồi ông chạy tới.
Ông thấy bên đây cột chân cột ta là hết nam người, một bo bốn Vinh ở giữa nữa, ngồi xa một lớp, đi bắt đầu dây cái gai lại tàu cái này, dây bớt vô lại đó, cứ kìm vô, cứ hớt.
Nam về chiều rồi coi như tàu nó dứt gai mình lên trước, dứt sang rồi bọn con vô trong cabin nó đưa vô cho bánh quần áo để mẹt trong đó, còn ba ở ngoài này. Rồi hắn cạo gai lên á, trước khi là hắn cạo gai ba lên á, cạo lên cái cũng bắt đầu cạo lên cái gai.
And as they were cranking up or bringing up the boat, it just fell apart right in front of our eyes. So, if we weren't rescued that night, I wouldn't be here talking to you at all.
Còn ở bên Việt Nam á, ngay là cái gai này là chết rồi. Cũng nói là chết bị nhỏ quá, gà cụ mà đang mà đi đó, nó chết rồi, bị bà ngọ đây về mua hương đèn cúng gió này là coi như chết rồi, không có sống nổi đâu. Cả lòn luôn, từ lòn Thanh Khê Hà Khê hậu đầu nó là gà đi chết không có sống, hai gà đi chết, nó hai gà đi bị chết sao.
My grandfather, who was already in the U.S., worked with the church and had already started petition us over to the U.S.
Vô Hồng Kông mà tháng 7 tháng 6 gì đó mà đi qua Mỹ là tháng 4 sông Nam á, ngòn 80, 81 mình đi qua.
Growing up, my grandparents always told us a story of how they came over, and it always reminds me to be grateful. I've talked to other Vietnamese families. Some of them did the normal route. They would pay to cross into the United States as opposed to going through what my grandparents had done. That was very unorthodox or uncommon at the time.
Their whole path was survival, and they would do whatever it took to survive.
When they made that decision and decided to leave Vietnam, that they were really sacrificing their lives is really for their children.
The risk that they took to give us, a better life, it give you the motive to work harder, to be who to achieve what you need to achieve in life, doing for mom and dad.
It's a daily reminder of being grateful and being fortunate.
Dad want to show off Grandma. Grandma's...
Má con không tổ chức thì các con qua đây được, thì các con có công ăn việc làm, mừng cho các con. Nếu mà ba má còn ở Việt Nam thì cũng giống như họ thôi.
There's a Marvel character that I can call my mom. She's a superhero. She's the most amazing person. The fact that she made that decision and put pressure on my dad to give us an opportunity, that's my superhero.
This is when before we board the plane to go to U.S. They took a picture.
So from Hong Kong, we went to New Orleans. Well, as a child, it's you don't remember much except that you adapted. People are different. The environment is different. And it's funny because me and my brother, right, we fit in extremely well. I mean, we even had the ramen, like the ramen packages. I'll tell you how we fit into this culture. We took our ramen into the school and we sold it for 10 cents. We were there for about a year. My dad worked for Ford. He was washing cars for less than $2 an hour at the time. But he had a friend in California that knew that, with California, they have much more social program. So Mom saved up everything she could. In fact, it was food stamp. It wasn't cash, it was food stamp. She bought a car with food stamp. Packed all of us in that car and drove us all the way to San Diego. Growing up in San Diego at the time, everybody thinks San Diego is like Hawaii. It's beautiful. Well, there's some part of San Diego that's not that. And that's a part that I grew up in. This is it doesn't look as bad now, but this is where it does get kind of scary. None of this was here. It wasn't until they start moving in the police department, then things start cleaning up. That church right there, I don't know how many times we've gotten beaten up in front of that church. It's because there's a lot of gangster. And we're just, we're tiny little kids. It's easy picking.
Biết rằng ở bên lễ của Liên qua đây cũng cực lắm cho bộ mau sướng hả? Vác 4 người đi lượm lon, lượm bó, rồi bắt đầu cũng phải cực lắm đúng không?
Normally school starts at 7:15, 7:25. We get up at 4:30, hunting for newspaper and cans. We would go through alley after alley, and then we would jump through these, trash can in there. Whatever cans we have, or whatever newspaper we would collect it. That was how we survived our first couple years. I still remember in elementary school, they have towards the end of the year, they have the Olympics, right? They have their own school Olympics. And there was one year where all of my brother and sister and me, we won first place in jump rope. Including my youngest brother who jumped backwards. He won first place jumping backwards. We were very competitive. Hey, you sit right here.
This is why we grew up.
And this is how fights get started too. Watch. Growing up, just among our brother and sister, right? We're always competitive.
Hey, no cheating. They always let me win.
Hey!
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay. Điểm sớm. Bông xì.
My mom's all about having fun, right? When she's at work, she's very professional. And then when she comes home, that's all out the door, right? She's laughing and joking. For me, I was the oldest girl in the family. Being the oldest girl, you have more responsibility. And one is taking care of your younger siblings.
I remember growing up, she really took care of the family in every aspect. Hong was the main person that was there to help me through all my elementary years and middle school years.
The other decision I made when I finished high school was I set aside my college to make sure that they get a chance to go to college. But in the IT field, as a woman without a degree, I've always felt a little short. Not because I'm physically short, but I feel like I've always have to prove. It's the drive. At the age of 14, I was actually an intern. The first job was to do data entry. I went from data entry to writing reports and doing data analytics. That gave me the ability to get into IT. From there, I went to helping low-income adults on how to re-employ themselves in the IT field. And so that led me to the workforce partnership. I became the manager of running the IT for the San Diego workforce. I continued to grow as an IT professional. I went to Jack in the Box, to Carl's Jr. From there, I went on to the LPL, probably the biggest financial firm, over $1 billion worth of asset. And then went to work for HP. After HP, I went to Oracle.
I think it's just unbelievable. I'm still trying to get my head around it, where Hong never finished college. But because of just her work ethic, her innate capacity, her perseverance, she was willing to start at a very humble, in a humble way, in a humble position, with the confidence that she was going to prove herself.
She thinks really big. She thinks outside of the box.
She's always ambitious, always like taking risk.
Once she finds something that she loves and really enjoys, something she's very passionate about, she will throw herself into that situation and try to get things done and done well.
I've been with Data House since 1992, and I've never, ever seen the capability that she can bring to our organization. She has redefined who Data House is as a local organization. I feel a tremendous privilege and opportunity to give her the position, the authority, where she could begin to release the potential and the passions that she had in her heart.
Because of her history and what she went through, and coming over and being part of that with my grandparents, her biggest thing was always wanting to help our family and help others.
Our life has been indebted, especially with, the uncles who helped my mom, the uncle that helped my brother. So I always feel like there's a part of me that's indebted to them.
I got to go back to Vietnam visiting family. My extended family is poor because I know that they're not going to have any opportunities. So then it triggers something in me that says, what can I do to help my extended family? That's what really got me start thinking of, okay, how can I bring some of the technology work back to Vietnam? I actually did research to see what are the different technology company in Da Nang. And at the time, there was 3. I went online to see if there's any company that was hiring in Vietnam, sent in my resume. I had other motive, right? Other intention. I went there, showed up to the interview, and by the 3rd interview, I said, nah, let me tell you why I'm really here. And that's how I started Data House Asia.
Data House Asia has been an instrumental part of Data House executing on its strategy, because she's been able to bring so much work to the organization that without Data House Asia's help as a fulfillment center, that we wouldn't be able to have executed on all of that business. And so our goal now has extended really upon serving the greater good no matter where we are, including in Da Nang, Vietnam.
I've never imagined in my entire life that I would even have the opportunity to go back to Vietnam, let alone being able to bring back technology work for them. It's a very humble feeling. Life was, it's never easy. And for me, I had a lot of twists and turns. After high school, I got married early. I had my first daughter when I was 20. The oldest is Kim, and then the youngest is Matthew. Lynn is my middle.
I was a pretty rambunctious kid growing up. My mom always knew that I would play rough at the playground at school. One day I came home with this really massive bruise, and so she took me to our Vietnamese doctor down the street, and he was like, "You should run your test."
She was diagnosed with leukemia.
And the next thing I knew, I was hospitalized, and it was a strange thing, because one day you're at the playground, going down the slides, playing hopscotch, and then you're in a hospital.
We're going to go through 6 months of treatment, 6 months of chemotherapy, and they won't know the percentage of the success. I told Lynn, we're gonna fight this. For a year and a half, we didn't leave. It was just me and her. We stayed in the hospital all the way through. We didn't go home. And this is me coming out of a divorce also at the time. Being a single parent was also hard. This is Lynn. After 3 cycles of chemo, look at the smile on her face. And with this, I knew that we were going to overcome it. She's, at the time, was very artistic. What she created for me, I call it the jar. And she took pieces of different gifts paper that was in the art room. I had no idea. And she put messages in there for me. I love you because you are funny. You always make me happy. Now I sit back and I look at this as it's hope messages. But at the time, going through it, you didn't know if it was hope or if it was her last messages to me. You are my love, with a heart and hugs. After she went through it, and she survived it, at 39, I had to go through it. I was actually diagnosed with colon cancer, stage 3. Having the fact that I told my daughter she needs to fight for it and do what it takes, I can't give in either. So there's a lot of up and downs, but you just have to stay focused. You just have to think positive.
When I first heard of Hong's story, it gave me a greater understanding of her sense of purpose. Having the strength, this supernatural strength to persevere. She's not afraid to tackle the Goliaths in the world. With Hong at the helm, I think our future is bright, and I'm excited as we really bring this data house talent and our culture to the rest of the world.
I saw my mom go through a lot of different companies. So she would hop until she can get a position where she can rise. But every time, there is always a stop. There's always a ceiling. It's so exciting, and I'm so happy for her to finally break that ceiling.
Being able to work her way up the chain, that's amazing accomplishment, I think.
I knew something special about my sister. I had a feeling one day, she's gonna be somebody special. I'm happy for my sister. I'm speechless. What she get, accomplished.
She's setting another standard for all of us to catch up to. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm really proud of her.
Mấy anh của con, mấy chị của con gì đó cũng chúc mừng cho con lên được chức chủ tịch, cũng chúc mừng.
I've watched many stories and many articles that says this is the American dream. I think I far exceed that. there's a lot of up and down in my life. It's one of the stories where I think every event you can overcome. Being able to get to where I am, I think it's way above the dream. It's like reaching for the impossible almost, right? That's what it feels. I'm an example of working hard and believing in yourself. I think that's the thing too, is believe in yourself. And you can do it.